Hello, and welcome back to The Journey Continues, where we explore the stories, the facts, and the incredible impact of organ donation and kidney health. I'm Monica Fox.
And I'm Sarah Jane Charles. Each month, we'll honor individuals who gave the gift of life through organ donation, learn from experts, and explore how the National Kidney Foundation of Illinois can help you protect your kidney health. Let's head right into our first segment, Donor Spotlight. Maddie Maddog Grobmeyer was a decorated gymnast, a recent high school graduate, and a Division I scholarship athlete on her way to the University of Wisconsin. Just 3 months before her passing, she survived a serious car accident, which inspired her to have an important conversation with her family. She told them that if anything ever happened to her, she wanted them to know she was an organ donor.
Tragically, Maddie died the day after her 18th birthday from an acute asthma attack. But because of her decision, her legacy became one of extraordinary impact. Her heart and liver saved the life of one recipient. Each of her kidneys saved another. Her corneas, bones, and tissues restored sight and improved the lives of many more. And her lungs were donated for asthma research, helping advance the science that may one day prevent losses like hers.
In the months after her death, her family founded the Maddog Strong Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to inspiring the next generation of organ and tissue donation advocates. Through education, donor registration, and open conversations, they carry forward Maddie's passion for helping others. Maddie Maddog Grobmeyer lived with courage, compassion, and purpose. In her passing, she gave the greatest gifts of all: hope, healing, and life.
On the other side of a short break, the journey continues with Ask the Expert, featuring Maddie's parents and my friends, and the founders of the Maddog Strong Foundation, Cindy and Frank Grobmeyer. Stay with us.
They say television is about sitting back. We say it's about stepping up. Your block has stories worth telling. Your neighbors have voices worth hearing. Chicago has a heartbeat worth sharing. Stop watching their world. Start showing yours. It's time to tune in and be seen. Can TV, always here, always yours. Experience the power of community television.
Welcome back. Our guests today are Cindy and Frank Grobmeyer. Cindy is the president and Frank is the executive director of the Maddog Strong Foundation.
Cindy and Frank faced the unimaginable loss of their daughter and turned that pain into action by starting the Maddog Strong Foundation, an organization that inspires the next generation of organ and tissue donation advocates by providing education, promoting donor registration, and encouraging conversation about this life-saving topic.
Cindy, Frank, when you think about Maddie, what are some of the first qualities or memories that you wish everybody knew about her?
So we, about a year before Maddie passed, we had bought these 4 Christmas stockings, and they were just perfect because each one matched each one of us in our family. And so our oldest daughter Sam was the normal one, I was the smart one, Frank was the favorite one, and Maddie was the crazy one. And we all freely admitted that these stockings were like the perfect description of the 4 of us. Maddie was her own person. She just really, when she walked into a room, you knew she was there. She didn't care she cared, but she didn't care what other people thought of her. You know, she wore what she wanted to wear. She did what she wanted to do, and she just lived life like she knew it was going to be a short one.
Wow.
And she was a bundle of energy. She
yeah.
was a tornado that hit the house every morning. And I think that's why we got her into gymnastics, because we wanted to burn off some of that energy,
That makes
to be honest with you.
And how'd she get the name Maddog?
That was Dad.
I love this story because So when it was only a few weeks after she was born, it was so peaceful in the house. I was holding her in my arms. I was just looking at this beautiful, small, tiny little baby in my arms. She was so beautiful. And then she let out this cry that rattled the windows of the house. And I said, how did that come from this beautiful little baby? And I don't know why. I'm a huge baseball fan, but I instantly thought of the pitcher for the Atlanta Braves and the Cubs, Greg Maddog Maddux. And he was real unassuming and big, thick glasses, a smaller frame, and he just commanded the mound. And it was just like two different personalities. And I looked at her and I said, you're Mad Dog from here on out. And honestly, this was tough to name her after a Cubs pitcher because I'm a diehard White Sox fan.
Southside.
But Southside, that's how she got the name Mad Dog. And it stuck because everybody in the gym, everybody that knew her friends called her Mad Dog. And it was one of those where you'd be at a meet and with little 6-year-old girls, and you'd hear everybody in the stand yelling, "Go Mad Dog, go Mad Dog!" And people were, "Who's Mad Dog?"
So
She
cute.
grew into the name for sure.
Yes, so she became a decorated gymnast, and she was a driven young woman with big plans. And so how would you describe the future that she was building and would have lived?
Sometimes it's really hard to think about that because she didn't get that chance to. She was getting ready to go on to college. I think she would have had a great college career. I've said this before. She said she wanted to go into medicine, but she was an adaptive PE leader in her high school, and she just loved working with the special needs kids. And I really think she might have gone into maybe that area of teaching or working with the special needs population. And I just think she would have lived a pretty happy, unassuming life, is my guess, instead of, being the face of organ donation in our area now. And we would have been really happy with that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of organ donation, she had a conversation with you shortly before her death. What was that like when she came to you and said, "I'm an organ donor and that's important to me"?
Well, my reaction was okay, and his was very different.
So she was in a rollover car accident about 3 months before she passed. And it was a strange, she was going from high school to her gymnastics practice, and it was a T-bone accident. The car rolled, and by the grace of God, she made it out, and the kids made it out, just some bumps and bruises.
Wow.
Then about a week and a half later, she just barrels into the living room like she normally would, and she said, "Listen, I've got something I want to tell you guys, is that, if something like that accident were to happen again, and the outcome wasn't as good, I want to be an organ donor, and I want something good to come from something bad." And as the dad, I'm like the protector, and no, we're not talking about this. This is morbid. People don't talk about organ donation. People don't talk about death, especially with their young kids.
Right.
Absolutely not. But the Mad Dog kicked in again, and she said, "No, Dad, you got to understand. Listen to me. This is what I want." I said, "All right, fine, check. We understand. Never going to have to worry about it, but thanks for letting us know, kiddo." And we thought that would be the end of it. And then little did we know, 3 months later, that little 5-minute conversation would lead to, her heroic decision and ultimately what we do today.
It truly was a heroic decision, and she saved many lives through organ, eye, and tissue donation. So how did learning about her recipients and those who were saved or lives who were enhanced, how did that shape your healing process?
It continues to shape our healing process. I think the first impact was just a couple weeks after Maddie had passed, and we got the first letter. I think the first letter came from Eversight, and we found out that that Maddie's corneas had gone to a 2-year-old little girl in Michigan, and one of her corneas. And so that just, I can't explain how much that gave us a sense of peace and hope, knowing that she was not only living on, but that she was making such an impact on such a young little girl. And then, we have not met any of her recipients, but we have kept in touch with one of her kidney recipients. who is about to give birth to her first child this month. So we
that
just
is
sent
awesome.
her baby presents.
Oh, wow.
So just the little things that Maddie didn't get to do, we're getting to see happen in her recipients. And then we just found out, about a month ago, that Maddie's other cornea went to a person in Kuwait.
Oh, wow.
So we had no idea up until, so it's been almost 6 years, and we just found out that, one of her corneas went as far as Kuwait. Some of her tissues went to Seoul, South Korea. Maddie wanted to travel. So that she's traveling around the world, there's those little things just make such a difference for us in that healing journey. It's been incredible. And just the recipients like you that we've met and become family with along the way, I can't even imagine where we would be at this point without donation.
Right, absolutely.
It wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah, and it's when the kidney recipient who we've communicated with reached out to us initially. In her letter, the very first thing she said is, "I'm so grateful, and one of the things I'm going to do with this time I have now is I'm going to travel, because I was tethered to a dialysis machine," she said, "for so many years." She said, I haven't even seen my father in 10 years because he lives in Las Vegas, and I couldn't travel, and he couldn't travel." And so it just hit us with the travel, and and the idea that her story continues. You hear that phrase a lot, but until you're in that position, you don't really realize how impactful that is, that her story lives on.
Yes, her journey really does continue.
It really does. It really does. And unfortunately, we did get news about 6 months after the donation surgery that Maddie's one liver and heart recipient, the woman who received her liver and heart, passed away. And we never expected that.
No.
It was like
No.
a secondary grief
Yeah.
journey.
Yes.
And, we just, you hear about, I'll use a baseball reference again, the recipient and the donor family on throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game with the stethoscope and listening to the heart. You don't hear that story.
Right.
And I remember speaking to somebody at Gift of Hope, and they told us, I made the comment that it's sad that she only had 6 more months after the donation surgery. They said, "Don't ever say that. That mom had 6 more months with her kids. That dad had 6 more months with his wife. You can't put a price on time."
Right.
And that has also added to our journey as well.
We learned that with Maddie too. I mean, those extra days in the hospital, it sounds crazy, but that extra time while we were waiting for the donation surgery to happen, we got to spend that extra time with her, and we got to hug her and hold her, and we got to say goodbye. A lot of parents who lose a child don't get that. And I certainly won't say we're blessed, but we're grateful that we had that time, and we're grateful that we have donation.
Yes.
And you donated her lungs for research. Can you tell us a little bit about how that has shaped the future, what you're hoping to do with that donation?
That was really important to
That
us.
was very meaningful.
Yeah. Originally, they weren't going to be able to place the lungs. Obviously, they couldn't place them for donation because of her asthma attack. And then we had requested, can they go to research? And they came and they said, no, we can't find anything. And we really pushed. And the gentleman from Gift of Hope, his name was Drew, he went back, and about 2 hours later, he came back and said, "We found an asthma research program that's going to take her lungs and use them."
Wow.
And so we'd like to think that maybe some of the advancements that have been made over the past few years in asthma research and asthma medications, and with the eosinophils and everything else, maybe Maddie had some hand in pushing some of that research along because of what she suffered through.
That's amazing.
Totally. So what inspired you to start the Maddog Strong Foundation? I mean, you were fresh into your grief. What inspired you?
I think you were looking for purpose.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I definitely was looking for purpose, and it evolved. It really started as just the idea of, gosh, I wish I would be able to continue. We would be able to continue to tell Maddie's story, and I think as time grew and we learned more about the need for organ donation, and we learned about the Drive for Life Act in Illinois and how students, young people were going to have the opportunity or having the opportunity to register to be donors, and how we've heard some feedback from people saying, like during that question, I didn't have any idea what, I wasn't expecting that, the kids were saying. So we said, well, whatever decision you make, we want you to have an informed and educated decision. So we said, I think we can help in some way. And the support we got from family, friends, the community, the organ donation community, the transplant community, everybody at large has just helped us on that journey. And that journey has really provided not just purpose, but it's a way to deal with the grief.
Yeah, and I think the conversation piece was really important to us, because we've had people ask us, if Maddie hadn't forced that conversation on you, what would you have done? And we don't know. We don't know that we would have said yes to donation, because she actually turned 16 before the Drive for Life Act, so she technically was not a registered donor. So I'm not sure what our decision would have been, and I can't imagine what this journey would have been like without that. So the conversation piece was really important to us, and we wanted to do whatever we could to make sure that any other parents or siblings or spouses in that position would have had that conversation like we did. We were really blessed to have had that conversation with her and to know what she wanted.
Yes.
And I think that with our organizations, we have 3 pillars. It's education, registration, and conversation. And the education piece, everything starts with education. Registration, that's where a lot of organizations in this space kind of stop. We've been successful. We got them to register. To me, that conversation piece is where you build advocacy.
Yes.
You remove that taboo, the dad instinct to say, we can't talk about this. And say, okay, we can talk about it. And then that leads to the advocacy piece. And that's all our goal is, that someday, hopefully we won't need to advocate, because everybody will be just normalized. Yeah,
Yes.
Everybody registers, and organ donation, everybody believes in and supports and registers. And so.
And you've set up a 5K, I believe, right? Miles for Maddog. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what the inspiration was, how that's grown? And it's coming up, right?
It is, and we had to pivot this year. We have a venue switch, so we're doing an awareness walk this year. So
Okay.
we're actually really excited about what we're putting together. But I think about 3 or 4 months after Maddie passed, one of our friend's daughters came to us and said, what about doing like a walk to raise money? And so we decided we were going to go through with it. And the first year, of course, COVID hit, and so we had to postpone it. So everybody got together and they did Miles for Maddog with drive-by cars. Okay. So we had our first Miles for Maddog sort of virtually. And then from there, it's just grown into this really great gathering of donors and recipients and families in the community, and bringing everybody together in a way not to just celebrate Maddie, but to really have those conversations about donation and transplantation. And we're just thrilled of what it's built into over the past 5 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's inspiring to see the connection between recipients and donor families. Like we said, we never met our recipients, Maddie's recipients, but that gives us a chance to get to know and connect with so many recipients that have adopted us as their donor family, or we've adopted them as our recipients. And
in fact, we're sending our first recipient to the transplant games this year.
Wow,
so we've sponsored John Rodino, who's been at 3 of the past Miles for Maddog.
yeah,
And
since he got his heart.
Yeah, he got a heart transplant, and he's never met his donor family, so he's kind of adopted Maddie, and he talks to her while he runs his 5Ks, because that was his goal, was to get back to running. So he's going to run for Team Illinois in the 5K at the transplant games this year.
I look forward to meeting him.
And
there.
after 3 years, John actually ran the Indianapolis Marathon. So with his new heart. I mean, that to me is just
amazing.
incredible.
That's incredible.
So he's inspiring. He definitely is inspiring, and we'd love to support him.
Yeah.
That's great. So what impact do you hope that the foundation and events like Miles for Maddog has on the community?
I think the community is the key piece. We really try to be as collaborative as we can. Like, one of my favorite events is to do the kidney screenings now at the university where I work at St. Xavier, and we've collaborated with NKFI to bring the kidney mobile, and Regina and Harry come, and the work we've done with some of our community partners, it just inspires me. Everyone in this space is just so giving and so compassionate, and those were the qualities that Maddie had. That was her to a T, and to be able to work with so many good partners like NKFI to do these events and to bring awareness and to help people, that's the mark we're going to leave. That's what we hope.
And we hope that we can impact in some way research as well, because as you guys know, the only thing better than getting an organ when you need an organ is not needing an organ in the first place.
Yes.
So we love to support preventative events like the kidney screenings and that. And we like to invest in research so that, such as asthma research and things like that, because that will also be a legacy, not just of Maddie, but that's a legacy of all of us in this space.
Absolutely. How can people support what you're doing at the Maddog Strong Foundation?
Visit us on the web, maddogstrong.org. Come out for Miles for Mad Dog. We'd love to have a huge showing. We're going to be doing some really cool things this year. We're going to, along the walk, we're going to do gratitude stations, and different organizations are sponsoring different stations to help people learn about organ and tissue donation and transplantation. And so Saturday, June 27th. Come out and support us. That would make me very happy.
And maddogstrong.org, and also, Maddie's story, and I guess to a small degree, our story is featured in episode 3 of a docuseries called Gifted, that's available on Vimeo, and you'll learn more about Mad Dog Strong and Maddie, mainly Maddie and her story, more in detail.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that. That is an awesome docuseries.
It is incredible.
Definitely worth seeing.
And the filmmaker Robert Horsey has worked 28 years in critical care and donation and transplantation. So he is passionate about telling the story from donor family perspectives.
Yeah.
And so if Maddie could see this movement and all that's grown in her name, what do you think she'd say?
We were literally just talking about that.
We were.
For one, at the beginning, she would have loved this because Maddie loved attention. She thought it was great. But at this point, I think she'd be saying, all right, Mom and Dad, you've done good. You can calm down a little now. But no, she would be thrilled. Like I said, she wanted to help people, and she would have been thrilled that this is how we were moving forward.
And I'm not sure she would say much, but she'd probably give us one of those big old Mad Dog hugs, and we're cool with that.
Yeah, that's what we miss the most.
Yeah. Thank you, Cindy and Frank, for joining us, for sharing your personal story, which was so moving and compelling, and for sharing your mission and your purpose with us, and for all that you do. You have done so much in not so many years. And I am just grateful. I'm grateful to be your friend, and I'm grateful to be a part of what you're doing.
So grateful for you too, Monica.
That means so much. Thank you for your friendship, Monica.
Yeah.
When the Journey Continues returns, we'll take a pee break. Stay with us.
Got something to say about Chicago? Now's your chance to be heard. Chicago Newsroom 2.0 is launching Opinion, a new segment where everyday Chicagoans take the mic. Whether it's a neighborhood issue that's been ignored, a citywide concern that needs attention, or a fresh idea that could change our city, we want to hear from you. Submit your commentary at cantv.org/opinion. If selected, we'll invite you on air to share your perspective with all of Chicago. Experience the power of community television.
Don't run off to the bathroom. Our pee break is a moment to take a look at the 3 key parts of the National Kidney Foundation of Illinois' mission: prevention, education, and empowerment. On this edition of Pee Break, we'll take a look at Take Charge.
Take Charge is an 8-week chronic disease self-management program held by the National Kidney Foundation of Illinois several times a year. This program empowers patients to take charge of their kidney health.
The 2.5-hour workshop is for participants in various stages of chronic kidney disease. The first 6 weeks focus on overall healthy living with 2 additional sessions that cover kidney-specific content. The program is offered free of charge to participants.
So who should attend the Take Charge? If you have kidney disease, kidney failure, or a kidney transplant, or if you have any risk factors for kidney disease like diabetes or high blood pressure, or if you're a caregiver to someone living with kidney disease, Take Charge is for you.
By the end of the 8 weeks, you'll learn to manage everyday activities, control your symptoms and decrease stress, improve your communication skills, avoid complications, improve your overall health, and increase your energy. You'll become an advocate for yourself, understand fluid restrictions on dialysis, and you'll get to ask a panel of experts more about kidney disease.
Participants who complete Take Charge have called this program educational, life-changing, and inspiring. You'll meet other participants who've been in your shoes and work with trained facilitators like me.
We hope you'll join us for the next session. Learn more on our website at nkfi.org/take-charge. Monica, maybe one day we'll get through an episode without crying, but not today. For more information on any of the topics we discussed today, visit our website, nkfi.org. We hope you'll join us next time. And we'd like to extend our thanks to Donate Life Illinois for making this show possible.
That's our time for now. Thank you for tuning into The Journey Continues. Share us with the people you love, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and now on demand on cantv.org, the CanTV Plus app, and the CanTV YouTube channel. I'm Monica Fox.
And I'm Sarah Jane Charles.
Until next time, the journey continues.